Star Trek Starfleet Academy Season 1, Episode 7. You ever give a speech too well or overstay your sneakiness just 5 minutes too long? Hey, they aren't high stakes. They're just quiet stakes. Long holiday weekend stakes. Hey, it is Dr. Trek, Larry Nemecek, coming at you here from the heart of Trekland and letting the dust settle just a bit on all the recent Trek headlines and fresh episodes. So, instead of a hot take or a quick take, you get a second opinion with Dr. Trek. Hey, look, I have been writing, editing, interviewing, witnessing, hosting, archiving, dot connecting, and yes, fanning Star Trek for a while now. And I just want to say, well, cosine. You know, after 3 big swings in a row, different tones, well, this was a quieter swing. but not a whiff, no. And look, it's our first all-Keonian title. Seriously. You know, we had Spock among the Vulcans. We had Deanna among the Betazoids. It's like arranged marriages. Oh, those are the best kind. You can just reach in and pull out a regular character, jerk them into a plot out of nowhere with no warning. It still works. See what I mean? But it makes me wonder, will Terima send Caleb one of those talking head box messages when she's ready to re-meet him again? Okay. Let's dive right into big things, little things. Big thing. So, Keonia at last. I guess. What do we know? What did we really learn about Keonia here? Okay, well, what's here? So, it's wet, it's lush. Not this moon, but it's lush, and they wear wet ceremonial garbs, a wet coral jacket and a mantle of sea tendrils. And there's such a thing as the traditional Keonian marital abduction here on the matrimonial moon. Is that because they're actually scaly creatures? I don't know. Interesting there that the moon used to be oceans, but it dried up when the core stopped spinning. What does all this mean? But the sealing ceremony on Keonia involves the celebration afterwards, involves parades and fireworks and drinking, all of which seem to be beyond the budget for this episode. Oh well, it was Sealingus Interruptus, right? Little things. In our 32nd Century Watch this week, there's such a thing as Old World's Day. It's a 4-day break. I wonder if that's new, like post-burn, or way back, centuries way back, you know? But it's definitely in the spring semester. And you know what? We got a lot of updated Earth geography here. The Holotech Rehab Spa is in Denver. The Deep Space Shuttle Port, one of them, is in Mumbai. There's a cadet that lives in Istanbul, or has family. But you know what? There's still a shit ton of slang from the 21st century in this episode and being talked about. Yeah. I don't know. I think the most shocking terminology of all was the cadets actually say Dadmiral now. Well, that didn't take long. A true millennium. Or a couple years. Thank you, Admiral Vance. Little thing. Kenda 2. One departing cadet's holiday weekend destination. That was actually where Dalen Quace, Dr. Crusher's mentor, was set to retire in TNG. Why Kenda 2? I don't know. Little thing. Very little thing. A warp slug. Okay. Are we seeing the next big thing here? It was cute, but you know, it ain't a moopsie.
Moopsie.
So, a simple story, a quiet story, and yet I have questions. Starting with Keonia, sunset moon. Well, that's quaint. It's a matriarchal moon. It's a wedding site moon. Does that mean that blue-gray, cloudy planet below with the electrical discharges going on, is that Keonia? Keonia Prime? Or is this just some corner of the, as it says, Keonian realms? I get the idea that that's true. We don't know for sure. I mean, in any case, this geography of the buttes, the orange gray, it reminds me a lot of the Sarek family's traditional ceremonial plateau, right? That we didn't see, not so much in the original Amok Time, but the remastered, taking its cue from the original animated series first. And even for the dream world of Strange News Spock Nightmare. Beautiful, beautiful. As far as it goes. Where are we? Oh, favorite lines. It's me, Caleb Muir. He's so sad. He's just so sad and typical for as big a gunner as he is. What a huge piece of beef and still just a little baby at times. Oh, and never had a sociopath personal information. So true. So true. But we didn't have many people in this story, especially with speaking lines, sociopathic or otherwise. But yes, again, a quiet show. There's just a few mundane cadets running off for holiday. No Vance, no Kelrick, no Doctor, and Laura only via a squawky voiceover comms scene there with, oh yes, Jet Reno. She's the only adult here besides Nala, with lines. I mean, look, there's barely a Sam plot. Occam is here only by mention. And of course, Terima is looming large over everything, despite being nowhere on camera, recuperating back on Beta Z, but living rent-free in Caleb's head. So, okay, let's focus on these four main folks. I don't even understand Genesis's anxiety. Enough to risk this? You'd never seen any self-sabotaging behavior before. Yeah, so her thing, we've been waiting to see. She has Nepo baby self-doubts. She has imposter syndrome big time, gone crazy. How can she be that competent otherwise and be afflicted by... Oh, that's it. It just shows all the more that she has no need of imposter syndrome. She really is that good. She's almost shot herself in the foot to prove that she could shoot herself in the foot. Well, at least she's feeling bad about dragging Caleb into it. She's not at all sociopathic and in denial. Like Patty Hearst's SLA kidnappers? No, she's going to be fine. Has she really excised these demons? I guess we'll see. Meanwhile, we've had hints about Darem all this time, right? The parent pleaser who could never do enough for his parents. No, I love this, starting off with the goodbyes for the holiday, for the weekend, right? Say hi to your sister. Say hi to your sister. Say hi to your sister. Yeah, it's a cute bro bit, but Darem is still the talented but underachieving parent pleaser, yes. Now, I thought it was cool that Jaden gives him a breathe scene, right? After he's ripped his sealing mantle. It's a nice flip of the scene from 104, Vox and Excelso, when it was Darem giving Jaden the breathing exercises and giving us a little bit of an interesting vibe in the process. But I got to tell you, never did I believe or even consider after the pilot that walk on hulls would now become Darem's tagline? Is that his resume header? How many times did you hear that line this episode? I guess. And Jaden had the big episode, this focus spotlight show. But it's interesting that he so easily sees through Darem's unconfident parent pleasing here and is the one to set him straight. They have had this rock. I go back, I think about the early episodes. Did they really all detest Darem that much? Was he really that bad? I guess he was. I just look at them through the lens of here's the 6 regulars or what have you. And of course they're going to talk to each other. And we saw the fighting over the room, all of that. But here he is. Here's Jaden in his skirt uniform and his beach wear, and Kyle. Does Jaden seem torn about Kyle? Even as they obviously stay, at least for now, a kind of fresh, bubbly couple. I gotta say, though, at his behalf, Kyle is managing to be not a stereotype, not just a hanger-on, but he's being a fleshed-out character. We're still here in the mode talking about what just happened with the loss of Miyazaki and Bobby. And we get a sense that Kyle really suffered a real loss with Bobby's heroic death. You get the sense that it's a cloud, it's a mantle that is it's a mantle that is settled over the whole school. But we can see Kyle reacting individually. Even if Kyle is maintaining a little happy-go-lucky on the goof side. Meanwhile, no, Tarima's not in this episode. Caleb, before he winds up with Genesis, and stick a pin in that, but he and Nala, at their goodbye scene, are acting like an old married couple. She's counseling him, he's heckling her packing. It's a cute scene. And it's like, I don't know, speaking of the captain, look, who wants to heckle her this week? Look, she starts to elevate a student. She has to swallow her huge disappointment when they stumble stupidly. And then she has to dish out punishment even while keeping a fair ear, a sympathetic ear, and a counselor's mind when she's dealing with Genesis and Caleb's consequences and after effects. I don't know. He says, it's like you've got 4 pairs of boots in there. You don't even wear shoes. It's like they knew that all these lines a year and a half ago would really be poking the crankies this time now. Seriously, guys. Nala and her foot choices and her posture choices, they're not a personal attack on you. And no one dies. It's just her character. So, yes, this is a quiet, dare we say a small stakes show. But would you call it a bottle show? The old classic term, I learned it through Star Trek, for television. When you were behind on budget, you had to make up overspending on episodes. Something you did when you had 26 long episode seasons, and you'd have to make up the money. And how do you do that? No special guest cast, no special sets, no special visual effects for sure. It's just a way of trimming the budget with all the fat that you might have week to week, right? You'd have to write the show that way. Now look, the Athena campus, seeing the ship and the campus and those sets, seeing them empty is kind of eerie and fun. That might qualify as a bottle show, at least the half that's Genesis's and Caleb's. But those sunset moon sets for the ceiling and the ceiling for the ceiling? I'm sorry, I just been dying to say that. That's definitely an expense. The set pieces, the AR wall background, all of that, and those extras and those costumes, more on that in a minute. That's some expense. That's some effort. Yeah. But still, great episode, a smaller boned episode. Who's behind this softer, downshifted character story? Well, our kudos this week, we look at the writers, and it's some names we've now seen as we hit into, we're 2/3 of the way through the season, coming around the far turn. Look, on the writing side, we've got 2 co-writers and continuing, apparently, this tradition of mating up a more experienced hand on the writing staff with a younger writer. Well, here, Alex Taub, that we've seen before, the veteran showrunner, that Noga Landau worked with, all 4 seasons of Nancy Drew, had all of its 60 episodes there as a producer, Alex did, as well as 7 writing credits there, but made it up here with Eric Anthony Glover. This is his second on Academy. He wrote Vox in Excelso, Jaden's Klingon opus, right? And he had one script amidst the short-lived Tom Swift series where here Academy showrunner Noga Landau was a co-creator. They're all getting to know each other and work together, and if you like working with somebody, why not bring them along? Same thing with our director again here. This is Andy Armaganian, 5th Trek overall, 9 on CW's Stargirl, and a host of a lot of other one-off directing gigs. Now, on Disco, Andy had done Season 4's Rubicon, Season 5's Jahal, and on Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Lift Us Up Where Suffering Cannot Reach, and then Season 3's Through the Lens of Time, and Moving Walls, and Dimensions, and Unused Tricorders. So, a veteran growing group. And we started with a breather, kind of set the tone for this quieter, softer show. You know, it was nice to have some follow-up and follow-through to the Miyazaki trauma. And we get this kind of in the best Greek tradition, right? Off-screen news of the funerals. Talima's recovering on Betazoid. We're hearing it all through second and third parties. Nala and Kelrick made speeches. You almost get the feeling that this is a campus-wide tragedy, and that's a vibe that resonates, I'm thinking, with the Gen Alpha generation that is used to the aftermath of school shootings. And this kind of a trauma, I think it's totally in their wheelhouse to envision. Now, we do have some upbeats here. Genesis's initial news of this would-be training officer is great, and when she gets the news from Alla, did you catch just a couple of bars of the motion picture style version of the TOS theme there just for a second?
Pre-command track is rigorous, intensive seminars and training labs, plus your full load.
Yes.
Sam is here just for this glitch hangover fallout from the Miyazaki attack, you know, that the Furies unleashed on her. It's easy. But it feels like it's just in for the record, just to follow through. There's no real drama with it. Was it planned to be more of this plot and then it was cut? If so, too bad. If not, nice follow-through, acknowledgement, but it's still so short, right? I don't know. The main theme here, the title, right, refers to this pairing here now of Jaden and Darem. We've been needing a real Darem episode. Yes, he had the character study back from the Prank Wars, from the Kalaga tournament, but him and his chosen one, it was turning into a triangle there of sorts, and all of that melodrama, half of the show. And then, yeah, Genesis and Caleb's low-key day, filling up an empty Athena and campus, and what's going on there? Where was that going to turn? But, you know, Genesis is, she's of high character. She's going to lead it on and find out what's happening with them, prod her friend to do something about it if need be, and I don't know, be standing there in case he needed to turn another direction. They've been close, kind of, since the pilot. But both of those were very sweet stories. But, you know, Starfleet Eyes Open is not a sweet life, so this is really a change of pace. It's a little bit like the Prank Wars was showing us Academy Life, but differently. I was kidding about the instant wedding, unexpected plot, but it does happen. It was totally an atypical episode. No high-stakes event. Actually, it's a breather. It's a breather from the last three. And that's fine. Here's my disappointment with this episode. It's time to finally see some Keonia and its people and its culture. I was just disappointed that we didn't see them in their actual form. And why not? And don't say it's because of budget. Okay, fine. Maybe it was a bottle show. They were spending money on those floor trees and that open-aired tent. I was disappointed. I was disappointed that I felt like we were seeing the basic question still here is, why the humanoid guises all over? And the other thing that's odd about this, No, freeze this frame. Look, by the end of the wedding that wasn't to be, or happened and won't, look, there's her parents, there's his parents. Check the end credits. They're credited. Yes, Mr. Ramey, Chris Lightfoot, Mrs. Ramey, Carla Devenish. Her parents, Carlos Pinder, Kelly Fanson. But still, his parents, after all this buildup, they're just featured extras at the ends. Yeah, I just wonder if there was more to have been filmed here, and there wasn't. But I gotta say, no silver gray scales anywhere. Why? So to me, we still haven't learned, really, about the heart and core of Kionia. We get all these little local terms for bride and groom and wedding and best man maid of honor. It's apparently now one term for both. So what is up with the gray scales? And why do they just enjoy going through life without their true form? That just seems twisted to me. Now, on the other hand, what did we learn? Class. Well, we know that Kionia is a monarchy. The ruling offspring is usually married and acts as a team. So Kyra's going to be a single monarch here. That's going to be unusual. But is Kionia a Federation member world, or is Darem a non-member vision, with a sponsor and lots of individual recommendations to be able to attend the academy, even as it's restarting? What's standard protocol? What's protocol being revisited from over 100 years back? And you know what? The choice to totally skip the sealing ceremony, just, aside from some echoes of audio and some blurry scenes, I thought that was the right move. We don't need it, and it would have just been sad to traipse through all that ritual happiness only to wind up going this route. So yes, it's a quiet show. Now, what is loud here are the second thoughts. Caleb and Genesis? Jaden and Darem? More and more and more of those little warp slugs? I don't know. Genesis is as intriguing as ever. She's the good upper road friend here. Anxiety over this much imposter syndrome. Has it been cured? I don't know. It's just a weird double-layered dynamic that this episode quietly gives us. Genesis in the friend zone with Caleb and Terima, that's helpful. Darem in the friend zone, treading between Jaden, and it's not helpful with Kyle. But I don't know. Again, I'm just still hoping to really meet the Kionians. Maybe it'll take a second visit to really let us get to know them and their gray scaly ways. Well, at least that was a peek. Maybe someday, I'm still waiting, but maybe someday we'll at least get an invitation to get to know the Darshaw. Oh, one more thing. Duluth? Come on, Jet. Why not just go to Cleveland? Oh, right. It's another 32nd century change. Oh, and dot fights? Okay, with that, I better sign off on this second opinion. But what did you think? I'd love for you to drop your comments below, share, keep this conversation going, and please, most of all, like and subscribe. Boost the signal. I dare you to subscribe for some Star Trek sanity, especially these days. Most of all, if you crave more Dr. Trek and the Trekland point of view, I invite you to check out every Trek pod, live stream, and experience that we offer, like Trekland Tuesdays Live, Cadet Alice and Dr. Trek Watch Prodigy, Second Opinion, of course, and Portal 47, your backstage pass to more in-depth Trek. Our Trekland Treks, your customized away missions to LA area Trek location sites with Dr. Trek. And this year for the 60th, our GeekNationTours.com big #LA to Vegas locations tour. All of that at LarryNemecek.com. See you back here next week. And till then, Trek well, everybody.